Welcome back to the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour. We are in Berlin. It is the penultimate day of the main event. We're playing down to the final table today. We currently have 15 players. We started today with 17, so we've had 2 eliminations already, Kevin Stunney and Philippe Baruch. And that last level on our feature table, well, it was different, that's for sure. We had the floor called to the table several times. We saw a very strange hand between Calvin Anderson and Matthias Kesenen. Rather creepy, freaky prediction from Joe Stapleton before any cards were dealt.
It was the only way I could possibly see a chop happening was 5 clubs, and there they came.
So here's how the players stack up. Roman Harold, currently the tournament chip leader with 5.5 million. Blinds up now, of course, to 20 and 40,000 with a 5K ante.
I haven't seen an all-flush chop in a long time either.
Two of the German players, Daniel Gepardon and Julian Thomas, fold. Calvin Anderson celebrating his birthday today.
If only we knew how old he was.
Do you want me to do the mathematics for you?
25?
Well done, Joe.
Yes.
It was pointed out to us that Calvin's online handle, 42688, is actually his date of birth, April 26, 1988.
I'm not a huge fan of my date of birth being out there because it's like 2/3 of what you need to register for a credit card is someone's name and date of birth.
Pascal Voss raising here. I believe Pascal is the last remaining Dutch player in the tournament. Now, if you weren't watching the first level of play today, most of the controversy on our feature table was surrounding the young Finnish player Matthias Kesenen, who, when we were 17-handed, the players at the feature table felt was unnecessarily stalling, potentially trying to ladder up. There were a couple of controversial decisions involving Florman Luca Vivaldi. He's sped up his game a little bit, and to be fair, now when he's thinking, it's probably because he's got a genuine decision.
It has been reasonable. It has come down from unreasonable to reasonable.
So he's re-raising here. It's a 3-bet to 155,000.
Have we seen a single raise and take it hand?
There may have been one. I think Calvin Anderson managed to steal the blinds and antes like once.
We have seen a few hands won without a flop. But only one raise and take it. There's just people seem to have woken up with a lot of hands. Oh, he does. He shows an. He does show a. No, that's not a deuce. There's 2 diamonds on it, but that's an ace, guys. That's a letter. It's one of the good ones.
Kesenen up to 1.46 million. The 2 biggest stacks at the table are tournament chip leader Roman Harold with 5.5 million, and the Russian qualifier Dashkin Aliyev, who has 3.29 million.
That overhead shot is just good enough for me to take a guess at what the cards are, and I always get it wrong. I should just learn my lesson, keep my mouth shut till we cut to it, but I can't do it. I'm too excited. I'm very excitable. I almost asked a girl to marry me last night, James. That's how excitable I am.
And I know which one he's talking about.
You know what encouragement I got to make me think I could ask her to marry me? She answered me when I asked what her name was.
It's generally what waitresses in restaurants do, Joe.
Chip brings up a good point. OMG, 7 players at this table are wearing glasses. I think he means sunglasses. That's so sad.
Yeah, we're not
I don't
gonna...
think we can get on Matty Kessinen.
Exactly. But he's right. The other 7 are all wearing sunglasses. Looks like there is an all-in on the outer table. Pocket 4s for Olivier Bousquet. And looks like they are going to hold.
For not very many chips.
Olivier super short. Doubling up there through Lasse Christiansen, the Dane. So the raise has come from Kim Win. Folded around to the blinds. Roman Harold, tournament chip leader in the small. Folds. Daniel Gay Puddin in the big blind. Also folds. There you go, Joe. You wanted raise and take it? We give you raise and take it.
Yes.
A reminder, if you want to get in touch with us on EPT Live, nuts@pokerstars.tv is the email address, or you can tag your tweets EPT Live. Martin asks, why does everyone stack their chips in stacks of 20? Well, this was one of the other rulings that Luke made. There was a hand involving Roman Harold where he'd re-raised... Sorry, not Roman Harold, it was Pascal Voss, I apologise. Pascal Voss had re-raised Kim Win, and Kim Win wanted a count on what Voss had behind. And Voss didn't answer him.
You don't have to answer.
But the point that Keane was making is that because Voss's chips were unequally stacked, he couldn't get a visual read on how many chips Pascal had. So the floor was called, and the ruling is, and this is something we discussed earlier in the week with Neil Johnson, PokerStars live events specialist and EPT events host, that to give players a clear idea of what everyone at the table has, the ruling is that you should keep your chips in stacks of 20, so you can very easily see roughly how many chips your opponent has at any one time.
Right, and the reason is that, you know, they need to be able to see it. You don't have to answer because you don't want them to necessarily get a read off you. Maybe you're really nervous. You end up sounding like the pimply-faced teen from The Simpsons. 1.2 million, sir. They can get a read off that, so you just keep your mouth shut. Let your chips do the talking.
Just a quick update on the outer table. It's now Lasse Christiansen's turn to move all in. Olivier Bousquet thinking. And obviously, should Olivier call that all in, will take you to the outer table. Olivier has folded. So Christiansen's all in at the outer table got through.
Can we cut to the fold?
Back to the feature table. We have a re-raise.
Kessinen raised pretty quickly this time.
Kessinen min raised. Harold has 3-bet to 170,000. Kessinen's thinking. This question from Stephen on Twitter. He says, any Spanish players still in the tournament? No.
Nope.
Still no Spanish winner on the EPT.
Huh. These two might be pals, considering how much time they spend in the tank together. There we go. That's what I like to call the eventual fold. Daniel Guy Pidoon takes down that pot.
It was Roman Harold.
Roman Harold takes down that pot. What did I say?
Daniel Guy Padun.
Are you sure?
Yes, positive.
I sworn I said Roman Harold.
I wouldn't have contradicted you, buddy, if I didn't need to. Olivier Busquet all in again. Against Yasser Gooden. Looks like King Queen of Hearts for Olivier. Ace 10 of Hearts for his opponent. And that is a king on the flop. There's also a 10. Olivier looking to fade. An ace or a 10 on the river.
I think Olivier had the ace 10, yeah.
Oh, my bad. So Olivier gets it in good. But Yasser Gooden gets there on the flop. And Olivier Busquet is out in 15th place. We're down to 14. And that means we're going to have to lose a player from our feature table because we have to balance the two tables. Two tables are 7.
6 more eliminations till our final table is set. It's got to be absolutely thrilling to be a part of this stage of the tournament. Just a little silent inward fist pump every time someone goes broke. Adam's written in to say, Stapes, when are you coming to Sweden? You have lots of fan here, mainly female fans.
There's a flight leaving in half an hour.
Prove it. And then yes, my answer would be immediately.
Sakeem wins under the gun raise, called by Calvin Anderson, defending his big blind. 9-8-7 flop, 2 diamonds.
Anderson hasn't checked yet. Here comes the hood. Players are usually going to check to the razor, but this board does smash a lot of big blind defense ranges. And not so much an under the gun raising range. There it is. There's the donk lead and the quick fold.
So we'll find out in a second who we're going to lose from our feature table as we balance the 2 remaining tables in this tournament. Kevin raises a good point. I have been referring to the Russian player on our feature table, Dashkin Aliyev, as a qualifier. I want to make it clear he did not qualify online. He actually qualified in a live satellite in a venue in Russia. Only casino they have in Russia where you can play live poker, and that's how he got his seat. But we do have 3 online qualifiers left in the tournament.
This table, by the way, can breathe a sigh of relief because Keem Win is who just got moved.
Of course, it was due to be his big blind, so he will be relocated out on the floor. The 3 online qualifiers remaining are Pascal Voss on our feature table from the Netherlands, and also Alexander Helbig, one of the German players on the outer table, and Roman Koronev, the Russian player on our outer table. And so Keem Win takes seat number 3 on the outer table, which was vacated a short while ago by Philippe Baruch.
think it's pretty funny that Kevin did refer to them as qualificants, which I'm not positive is a word. Harold kicking it up, 80K.
Whose turn is it to tank now?
Julian Thomas. But he's not tanking forever. He's going to be 3-betting here.
I think I heard 185,000 announced by the dealer.
That is correct.
Action back on Harold. Christian is not a happy camper. He tweets, "Come on! Give Harold and Kesenen personal shot clocks. 2 to 5 minutes tanking will result in a maximum of 12 hands per hour."
I think that since the break, they have been taking their time, but taking a reasonable amount of time. But Christian, we thank you. James, there's going to be a 4-bet, it looks like. Boom.
$365,000. Or is it 355,000? It's the latter. Either way,
Quarter of a big blind difference you're talking about there, James.
it's a significant 4-bet.
Is it all going in here? Looks like it might.
Why move all in when you can just continue this awesome clicking war?
Well, that is what's going to continue. The clicking war. This is a 5 bizzle. If you want to see who's just in the booth, she's walking across your screen.
She's gone.
Elusive, the Swedish woman.
Enigmatic.
I don't know what that means.
Have we got an all-in on the outer table? Thinking of going to make a cup of tea. Might also just take a stroll around the Grand Hyatt.
James, 4-bet folding is, you know, something. Doesn't all have to go in here.
Might pop across to the shopping centre as well while I'm at it.
Excuse me, sir, the action's on you.
Do you know what I'm going to go and do? Going to get my passport stamped by that guy at the fake checkpoint Charlie.
What do you think he charges for that? And also, I don't really want random fake stamps in my passport.
They don't put it in a real passport. They give you like a passport page.
Oh, okay. Phew.
I don't think it costs that much. I've got a few euros on me. So anyway, so I'm going to go off and do all those things. And when I come back, let's see if Harold's made a decision.
All right, buddy. I'm on it. I'll page you. Okay, there's the 6-bet.
I managed to make the cup of tea. I didn't get to do any of the other things.
Oh, that's okay. Go on back.
Oh, it's still not over?
There's the all-in. And a call. Yeah? Robert?
What?
Folds.
What?
6-bet fold. Don't see that every day.
What? So Harold stuck in nearly 1 million chips. The guy only had 2 million at the start of the hand.
So did he, like, double up almost without seeing a flop?
He increased his stack by 50% without even seeing a flop. No, seriously, Harold's 4-bet was to 875. And Thomas only had 2 million at the start of the hand. I mean, is that a simple situation where Harold was not aware of his opponent's stack size?
Or maybe he just had absolute trash bags and was trying to get away with one. He's still the chip leader at the table, by the way.
But he's fallen below the 5 million mark after a curiously played hand. Let's describe it that way, shall we? Kevin has followed up his tweet about qualifiers with another question.
Sorry.
Well, no, it's mainly about logos, and I just want to make it clear, and you may be wondering why you haven't seen any logos inside the casino. There is very strict laws in Germany about advertising gaming sites, and that's why you don't see any kind of branding or any kind of logos actually inside the gaming area.
Also very strict laws on beer making. Reinheitsgebot.
By the way, if this is someone's first time watching EPT Live, if this is someone's first time watching poker play out in real time, it's not always like this. Granted, it's always slower than the TV shows, but it's not normally this slow. And a reminder that we always ask for your feedback on the live streams, what you like, what you don't like, and ultimately, what would you like to see that we don't currently do? Best to email your feedback, nuts@pokerstars.tv, and that way we can save your emails and put them in front of the people who matter.
Mr. Harold raising. Herr Harold, I guess is what we'd call him here, huh?
I just keep thinking of Harold Lloyd. Remember the guy hanging off the clock face?
No.
It's an iconic image. I'm going to Google it, and when you see it, surely you'll remember it. I believe the film was called Safety First or Safety Last. Safety Last.
Yeah, better look that up. Everyone's really hanging on the edge of their seats. Oh, no, yeah, no, I remember it. Well, I mean, I know it's a thing. I don't remember it since that was obviously, what, in like the 1800s?
Not quite. It was the beginning of the 20th century. So this is a 3-bet from Dashkin Aliyev. We're raising from the small blind. And now it's Kersenen's decision. He folds. And now it's back on Harold. Meanwhile, some comments coming in on that last hand. Joe Foley says, loving this. 6-bet folding at the feature table. Nuno says, did Anderson get as confused as we all did with that fold? His face was like, what just happened?
Yeah, I think you expect to get called there most of the time.
Oh, wow, and there's some conspiracy theories out there because that hand was played between two Germans.
Oh,
So with Harold calling the 3-bet, they see a flop, 7-5 deuce with 2 diamonds. Aliev continues for 320k.
Now it's Kessinen who's trying to keep himself amused.
He allowed himself a little smile there. Harold calls. These are the 2 biggest stacks at the table, by the way.
That's right, we've got a 1,000,000 chip pot here.
Six of diamonds.
Aliev continuing.
Not slowing down. 500,000.
He's repping an overpair at least, eh? And gets called again.
Wow.
So we've got over 2,000,000 chips in this pot.
Aliev with less than a pot-sized bet behind as we go to the river.
And it's the second biggest stack at the table.
And there is the 8 of spades. There's now a 4-card straight on board, a 3-card flush on board. Aliev slows down, he checks.
This could take a while. Now, if Harold has a hand with showdown value, I guess he's got to make a choice here. Between taking that showdown value or trying to bluff Aliev off whatever he had. Two aces. There's the overpair. And they are good.
Harold has lost 2 big pots in a row. And with that, it looks like he's lost the tournament chip lead. Ship the pot to Aliev. And Aliev now up to 4.4 million. Harold down to 3.6 million.
Man, usually when a hand goes that far with aces, you're just sweating it every second. It's, you know, just any little tiny 9 beats you, a couple of diamonds beat you. You can understand why he'd be reticent to bet the river.
Question in is if Harold bets the river, if he ships the river, do you think he gets called?
I truly don't know, James.
Would have been interesting, wouldn't it?
I think it's pretty hard for him to rep a ton on that board, even though it is a scary board for ace. It's just the way he played the hand. It might have looked exactly like what it was, just sort of a last-ditch bluff attempt.
By the way, guys, we appreciate all your feedback. We appreciate constructive criticism, but please email nuts@pokerstars.tv. Don't put it in the Twitter timeline because it will get lost. Although I'm going to handle this one from Stephen. He says, I'm enjoying it. It's a little bit boring we can't see the cards. Why not voice delay like other times? Well, first of all, Stephen, this is not a televised event. It's a light stream, so we don't have the whole card cameras. Even if we did, we can't delay the action. We can't show whole cards from the feature table when there's another table out there. You can't show the whole cards of these 7 guys and allow the other 7 guys to play without revealing that information to the world. It puts the 7 guys on the TV stage on an unlevel playing field. It's unfair to them. So it'll only ever be final tables where you get whole cards in the delayed stream. Not here in Berlin, but that will happen in Monaco for the final table of the main event and for the final table of the Super High Roller.
Nice.
Calvin Anderson raising to 80,000. He's chipped up from the start of the day. Starts this hand with 1.2 million. And there is an all-in from Pascal Voss. He's the short stack at the table, 695,000. Fold it back around to Calvin. Green hoodie versus, is it grey or blue hoodie?
Colorless, that's what I like to say. Looks like Anderson may have been raising a little light here.
Oh, Calvin.
And he kicks it in. Voss happy to win that without a showdown.
So if you have just joined us on EPT Live, first of all, good afternoon. It's the penultimate day of the tournament, and we're down to 14 players, and today we play down to the final table of 8. You can see the names of the players we've lost so far today, scrolling along the bottom of your screen. Olivier Bousquet, the last to bust, in 15th for 33,000 euros. Once everyone gets to the final table, by the way, they've locked up 77 grand, and tomorrow they'll play down to a winner who'll receive 880,000 euros and the trophy. Every single hand live from the final table tomorrow from 12 noon Central European time here on EPT Live.
Euros look awesome too. I think it might be my favorite currency. Just thinking about what 880,000 euros would look like in cash. Ah.
Now, Joe, you're better at the pop culture references than I am. Are you aware of something called Bob's Burgers?
Yeah.
We've had a few people tweet that Dashkin Aliyev looks like Bob out of Bob's Burgers.
He does look like Bob from Bob's Burgers, actually.
And Ezra has just provided a photograph. If you search the EPT Live timeline on Twitter, you'll see the picture. And yeah, that is pretty good. I like that.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Aliyev's raised to 80,000 has just been re-raised by Matthias Kersinen. 3 betting from the button.
Mike, Ali, and Cruel Intent have all written in to say the same thing. I'm going to read Mike's tweet. I feel sad for James, always explaining the same things. Why no whole cards? What's the free roll password? Poor James. I agree, James. You're the man.
I don't mind explaining the whole cards thing because I understand people who are used to watching televised poker. It's just become part of the game. And I think it's important that people understand that we're trying to put the integrity of the tournament before our coverage of it.
Yeah, I just give you a lot of credit, man. You're so good at your job.
Group hug. So Kesden's made it 175,000.
We were supposed to have Timex in the booth, but apparently he's staring down the woman at Starbucks until he gets a free coffee.
Now, is this a call or a cold 4-bet?
Looks like a small, cold 4-bet.
Yeah. Harold makes it 330,000. Well, that's Aliyev out of the way.
Not even doubling the 3-bet. We've talked about these small 4-bets before. You know, Kesden's on the button. He's got a really great price to call right now. So I like this move if you think Kesden's like super light. And you don't want him to get away too easy.
I kind of hope this move does work out for Harold because he's hemorrhaging chips at the moment. He's lost 2 million this level. Kesden moves all in, and Harold calls. Kesden at risk with ace-10. And Harold calls with queens. Well, 70% of the time, this is going to work out for Harold. And a queen in the door.
I think this is going to be it for Kesden.
The Finn drawing dead on the turn. And we lose Matthias Kesden in 14th place. And now 13 remain.
And that is a wild shove, I think, with ace-10. When you get called, it is just never, ever, ever good. So I'm kind of surprised to see a shove there, especially from a guy who's obviously thinking as long and as hard as Matty Kesden was.
Okay, I want to take issue with this one. I know normally it's Joe who leaps down the throats of random tweeters, but I'm going to handle this one.
Wow, all right.
And just a reminder, by the way, guys, that we really appreciate your feedback, but please email at nuts@pokerstars.tv. But Matty says, for future coverage, it would be lovely for the graphics gimps to add the blind levels.
Ooh.
Now, I've got two things here. First of all, that's just rude.
You guys, hold on a second. Y'all just unleash the beast right now, because if Hardigan's upset, I'm mommy. Now daddy's upset.
That is rude and disrespectful to call people gimps. These guys are hardworking. They do an awesome job. And you're clearly not paying attention, Matty, because what's the graphic that you occasionally get in the top left-hand corner of your screen? The blind levels.
Who's the gimp?
Pay attention. Watch properly. Oh, look. What's that on the screen, Joe? What does that say?
I don't know, but some gimp figured out how to push a button, I guess.
Will not have the production team insulted by random people on Twitter.
That's what I'm here for.
I don't mind being insulted, but I'm going to protect my boys. Calvin Anderson raising under the gun, called by Padun.
Also, the blinds levels completely available at the PokerStars blog. All the time. Live updates happening there. And I already know you're on your computer.
Could be watching on a mobile device.
Which has internet access.
Good point. Well made. So Padun called out of the small blind. He checks the flop. Queen 7-3. with 2 spades, and Anderson continues. Pidun calls.
Another spade on the turn, the 9 ball.
With 85,000 apiece on the flop.
Turns out Timex next stare down was with the son. He lost. He's currently in the emergency room. He's not going to make it to the broadcast. I think health-wise he's fine.
Pidun checks a second time. Will Anderson fire again?
Eight on the river. Anderson, the original raiser here. Continued to flop, but gave up. I think I heard him say jack high. King, queen is good.
Top pair for Pidun. And he will ship that pot.
Couldn't bring himself to go for any value. Can't say I blame him.
Wow, awesome reaction on Twitter. Maybe I should get angry more often. Matty actually apologizes and says, Gimps means geeks which inherit the earth. Guess it was lost in translation. Offense not intended. I'm not familiar with that use of the word gimp. I think most people think of Pulp Fiction, right?
Leather enthusiasts. Yannick says it would be lovely to see graphically the insult level of James.
Steve says play is getting better as they go deeper into the tournament. Great broadcast. Thank you, Steve.
Len says it's time for Claw to step up with a Pulp Fiction poker-related Photoshop.
Already on it. Aliev raises to 85,000. Action on Calvin Anderson. Anderson now down below $1 million again. 945,000 at the start of this hand.
And remember, kids, we are down to 13 players in this main event, which means we are 5 away from the final table.
And halfway through this level. Well, obviously, we may not have been able to bring you Mike Timex McDonald. We're hoping that Elke and Eugene Kachelov can join us later on. Assuming this thing goes the distance, of course, when they get down to a final table, we are going to stop play for the day. But we are joined by a guest right now who's having a phenomenal run here at EPT Berlin. Marcel Luske from Team PokerStars Pro. When you joined us yesterday, we congratulated you on your win in the PLO side event.
Yeah.
And I understand you've had more success in the side event since we last saw you.
I find out there was a 7-card stud event. And so I joined it.
They were trying to keep it a secret from you. They were like, don't tell Marcel about the 7-card stud event.
I don't know. I don't look. I see the time I have available and then the events that pass by. It's more realistic because you want to stay in the main event. So when it opens opportunities to play something else, then I look and I find out 7-card stud. I like to play that. So I joined. And then there were like 3 tables, 21 people, which I don't mind because I play one table the same like other tables. And then I did well in it, yes, if you could say that.
So you took down the stud events. That's your second win here in Berlin and your 4th trophy during EPT Season 9.
Yes, it is. But they're all small side events, you know, but I love them. It's different to play 8-game and horse game in Omaha and Severgatstud. So now I try to find out if there's a limit hold'em and a rash, draw.
We're kicking it old school on the EPT. So Pidun's raised to 80,000 and Calvin Anderson has 3-bet from the small blind. He's made it 195,000. Decision on Pascal Voss in the big blind, who starts the hand with 850k, still the shortest stack at the table.
It's getting really serious now, isn't it?
Everyone's so close to the final table, but still so far. Voss decides to shove. A cold 4-bet for everything he's got and gets 2 quick folds. Obviously picked a good spot and is now up over $1 million. Calvin Anderson now the low man at the table with 700,000. Mark on Twitter says, hello, my lord, Marcel Luske, King of the Netherlands.
King of the Netherlands.
If you want to congratulate Marcel, if you want to ask him a question, you can tag your tweets EPT Live. You can send your emails to nuts@pokerstars.tv. Mike asks, why do some tournaments have a final table of 8, others 9, some 6? There's no kind of rhyme or reason behind it. It's personal preference, Mike. I mean, when the EPT was created, I think partly for the benefit of the players, partly for TV reasons, 8 was a good number. 6 felt too short-handed. 9 was kind of awkward. 8's a good number, and certainly every player we talk to, Marcel, seems to like playing 8-handed. There seems to be quite a difference between playing 9-handed and 8-handed.
Yeah, well, it's more the feel as a player. If the more short-handed you get, the more playable your weaker hands are going to be. A King 9 has more value if you want to play it on an 8-handed table. You understand? So it's
Well, everybody likes the action, right?
Yeah, it gives people opportunity to create more action, short-handed. I prefer to sit and watch and study and keep low profile and strike if you have a deep stack tournament. But then sometimes the turbo is nice because it's done quick. You play 3 hours, it's done, it's turbo. It's certainly not done here. If you look at these guys, they're all under pressure. They want to get there.
That last hand was raise and take it for Daniel Guy Pidun, who, by the way, Marcel, we have an awesome stat on this guy. This German player has only ever played three EPT main events. All 3 times they've been here in Berlin, and all 3 times he's made the money and gone deep.
Wow, yeah, it's fantastic. Some players are just, although they play for fun, and it's not their business or hobby, or they just do it on the side for fun just now and then. But that doesn't mean that they're stupid and they cannot play.
Lars emails to say, do you think players are influenced by being on a TV table or EPT Live table? Do you think they play differently when the cameras are on them?
Well, to speak for myself, it certainly does affect your game. It does affect because people actually most of the time see your whole card or you're on the surveillance period. And you get used to it in a way, but it always gives you a bit of taste, like it's not nice to be stared at all the time.
Calvin Anderson raising to 80,000 from the cutoff. And the raise gets through. Well, we've got one Dutch pro in the booth, and now we're going to introduce another. Old school versus new school. Marcel Luske now joined by Paul Berende. Hello again, Paul.
Hey.
And obviously, when you joined us as a guest commentator in London, you kind of brought around the end of the tournament, so you're obviously good luck to us. So maybe we're going to blow through the next 5 players in, like, the next level or so.
How many do we have left at the moment?
13.
13, all right. And the Dutch guy is still in, right?
Yes, Pascal Voss
Nice.
just moved all in over the top of a 3-bet and got it through, so is now sitting up over $1 million. By the way, I love the fact that on the day that we've actually added a Dutch language stream, we're giving them a run for their money by having 2 of the big Dutch names on the English language stream. Eat that!
Yes, in your face. But it's fair, isn't it? Can you imagine every time you have like the last 16 and the different nations, and now you're going to do it in 16 different languages to be fair to everybody?
It's incredible. I mean, obviously you can see at the bottom of your screen now all of the localized streams available if you want to watch EPT Live in a different language. Should point out, by the way, that it's Belgian Dutch that we've added today, so not proper Dutch.
I thank you for that. Thank you. I get along with the Belgian people very well.
Paul, do you know Pascal Voss at all?
Yeah, I met him at first, or I saw him at first at EPT Deauville, I think. But yeah, I think he was kind of unknown before this year in the live circuit, but he started playing a couple more EPTs, and yeah, I know him from online as well. So yeah, I think he's a decent player, and he's up to 1 million now. So that's like 20 big blinds or something, or what are the blinds at this moment?
2040.
2040, all right. Yeah, it's doable still. So what's the action at the moment? Who's the table captain?
Well, the table chip leader, possibly the tournament chip leader, is Roman Harold. He lost that chip lead for a while, but then he eliminated the Finnish player Matthias Kesinen and now has more than 5 million. He's raised here to 95,000 from the small blind, but faces a 3-bet from Daniel Gateputten in the big blind. Makes it 255 total. And you've got to love a blind-on-blind battle. These can be some of those interesting confrontations at the poker table.
German on German action.
And quite a lot of German players still left in. They made up 30% of the field, but...
Yeah, but it's local event, so they have like, they're probably more focused. It's a home game for them, you know.
I think the average German is a good, pretty good MTT player anyway. There are a lot of good young German guys nowadays who are grinding a lot, and yeah, it wasn't a surprise for me that like, a lot of Germans came deep in this event.
Marcel, obviously it's no secret that you've been around for quite a while. You've been playing poker from the early days. What do you think are the biggest changes in the game and the biggest changes in the poker culture from when you first started playing?
Well, first of all, the bigger changes is that the younger generations through computer and television could get into a situation where they can pick it up and within no time they get information, learn the game, start to understand better than many people who played for many years who thinking it's luck what overrules, but it's not like that. So the brightness is, if you're smart, this game gives opportunities. So the change is the age of people. You don't need to get experience through the years on the tables.
Paul, what was it that enticed you into the world of poker? Was it TV? Was it the internet?
I actually was kind of a card fan already, like from your early ages. But yeah, then like I'm 25 now, like 8 years ago or something, I saw poker on TV for one of my first times, and I think it was actually Marcel who who got me into the game.
Got me into trouble.
Kings are good. That's the one I remember.
Yes, great. Well, you got about 5 million people in Germany playing poker. You get more than 1 million playing in Holland. It's like Holland is like 5 times smaller than Germany in population, so it should be normal that you have 5 German players against 1 Dutch player.
Well, obviously we've got a lot of Dutch viewers and they're all pulling for Pascal Voss. They want back-to-back victories for the Netherlands on the EPT.
that would be weird. Super awesome.
Well, it would be a little bit sick because Peter de Korver won the Berlin Cup.
Indeed. So we had Ruben Visser taking down EPT London, the Berlin Cup going to Peter de Korver, and then Pascal Voss taking down this tournament.
And the grand final is going to be me.
That's a statement.
Just saying.
I think Marcel might have something to say about that, Paul.
Well, you know, I'm trying hard, and every time they close the door in front of me, and you can see it. I always scratch my nose on that. I'm getting close and closer, and didn't work. But it's a statement from Paul, and you know what? I support that statement because he can do it. I don't know if people know how he's playing, but he's playing. He's a really good player, and that's not because he's sitting next to me.
Thank you.
Let's just pick up the action on this hand because Calvin Anderson has raised under the gun. Now, I appreciate we're playing six-handed, so under the gun doesn't really carry the same kind of weight. But even so, Pascal Voss is just flatted.
Yeah, normally this looks pretty strong to me. If he flats against the 20 big blind stack, raises under the gun. But then again, I don't know. I don't really know his game, so he might be a little playing a little different than me. But
Well, Daniel Gopudin has called from the small blind as well. We've gone three-way to this flop. Ace, Queen, 10.
is Anderson still opening like as many hands as he did like yesterday? Or
It doesn't matter whether Calvin Anderson has 20 big blinds, 50 big blinds, or 100 big blinds. He's pretty much opening every hand that's folded to him.
yeah, it's insane how like online he plays kind of the same, and he's winning so much, and he's like the only player who gets away with opening more than like 25% of his hands like full ring. It's almost ridiculous.
No, he goes with the flow. He feels good all the time.
Yeah, he's probably definitely confident six-handed now, even though he has 20 big blinds. He's probably one of the better players left. So Anderson checked as the initial raiser. And now it's back to the Dutch guy.
You know what fuss means in English, yeah? It's fox. Fox.
Voss, yeah.
Fox, as
Yeah.
an F-O-X,
Yeah.
Fox. Just wanted to clarify that one.
Does he know it's his turn, or is he just thinking really long?
There has been a lot of tanking at this table today. In fact, you guys probably aren't aware, but during the first level, when we still had 17 players, so we still had 3 tables, the Finnish player on the table had the clock called on him a couple of times, and the floor came, and Luca Vivaldi actually made a ruling that they felt that he was potentially stalling deliberately because there was a money jump from 17 to 16, and Luca threatened that they would start looking at his whole cards to see if he genuinely had a decision or was just stalling.
This was about the Dutch guy?
No, not the Dutch
No.
guy. It was the Finnish guy who's now been eliminated.
Ah, okay.
But generally, the pace of play has been pretty slow today.
Okay.
But granted, I mean, we are at the business end. We're 5 away from the
Yeah.
final table.
Yes.
Every single pot involves massive decisions.
I'm so happy that you mentioned it because we should not overdo it. Of course, it's not nice if some of the players are taking their time to make the decisions, find the feel. It's a huge decision to make, to be in a hand and might be in big problems. So you think it over. You have to go through it. It's like a chess machine. Every time they go through what are the possibilities, what I'm into, how much, and sometimes it takes time, and some players take their time, and then really you don't want to see a tournament director telling you can do it or you can't, because it's part of your game. They should just say, put a clock on it and take your time, but if the clock ends, that's it.
It's funny that like nowadays the younger guys actually take more time than the older generation. But I think there are a couple of reasons for that to make it like reasonable, because I think like younger guys have way more options in their head to go for like a certain decision. Like they think all their options through. Like, can I raise here? Can I turn my hand into a bluff? Can I do something on further streets? And like the older generation probably just thinks like, oh yeah, I'm either gonna call or gonna raise, and see maybe like 2 or 3 options. And I'm not saying like every guy from older generation. Of course, there's a couple. There are a lot of guys who are also really capable and where I really have a lot of respect for. But
Well, after going through all of his options, Pascal Voss decided to bet the flop, 85,000. Padun folded, but Anderson called. And Anderson has checked the turn, which is the 9 of diamonds. And once again,
Anderson check called this flop as initial raiser, right?
yes, correct. So here we are with Pascal Voss thinking it over, and this time he checks behind. River for free. 10 of hearts, parrying the board.
I think Anderson, a lot of the times he has like a weak ace here, or maybe like king queen, sort of hands like that. That you think he's good, but he's not getting that value of 3 streets, so he's just gonna check the flop and then maybe bet turn and river is gonna be check. It's gonna be check back, but now Pascal checked the turn. Not really sure what he has, but he might have something with showdown value as well.
Let's have a look. The hand for Voss looks like Queen Jack.
Queen Jack. King Queen, yeah, that's what I thought.
Good read, Paul. So Calvin Anderson will win that one.
Now we know why Paul Voss was flat calling in position.
Yeah, he had Queen Jack suited, right? Yeah.
Well, there's half an hour left on the level, and then there'll be another tournament break. And during that break, we're actually going to be showing a feature about winning a main event passport on PokerStars. And guess who's in that feature? Paul Berende.
Really?
Didn't even know he was in it. Meanwhile, we have an all-in and a call on the outer table. Kings against ace-queen, and Kings win. Is that an elimination or a double-up?
I think it's a double-up looking at the face of the guy with the red shirt.
But that is going to be a big blow to Lasse Christiansen's stack. They're just counting it, making sure that... Oh, he's the player who double-up, I'm sorry. It's Roman Koronev who had the ace-queen. So still with 13 players remaining. By the way, Paul, Leslie has just tweeted, Paul, how did you not win something this week? You must be ill.
I didn't win something this week, but I did cash twice though, so it's not. I didn't break everything, but yeah, I was hoping I would get really deep in the high roller, but I actually just busted a half hour ago 8 spots before the money, so I was kind of disappointed, but it happens with tournaments. So, but I did cash 7 card stud pot limit turbo event, which I never played in my life. And we decided to jump in with 10 Dutch and Belgium guys and do it last longer because we all had like no clue how to play it.
I missed that one.
Yeah, Marcel, you should have played that one, and
yes.
you won 3 side events. Congrats, by the way, on
Thank
both your victories.
Roman Harold raising to 80,000 from the cutoff.
He's probably opening really wide now with his stack and his position. I don't think he's folding more than 30% of his hands here.
Of course, that last hand, by the way, Anderson Voss, their kickers didn't play. It was 10s and an ace on board, so queens and 10s with an ace kicker. So you know what they say, everyone loves a chop pot.
I don't. So what are the other where are the other guys from at the feature table?
Well, Julian Thomas is a local. He's from Germany. Calvin Anderson from the USA.
Yeah.
Ashkin Iliev is Russian. And then Roman Harold and Daniel Gaypudden are both German.
And the guy with the really with the mustache and the sunglasses.
Yeah,
he's
that's Iliev. He's Russian.
All right.
His story is an interesting one because he's a regular player at the only place in Russia where you can legally play poker. It's like a casino which apparently is completely out in the middle of nowhere.
It's put in his backyard.
Indeed. And he won a 10-man sit and go where the prize was a seat in this tournament.
Oh, nice. So cheap one for him then. Nice ROI on this satellite.
If he wins it, it might be breaking news because they had poker in Russia getting very big and They were happy with it, and then suddenly Putin decided not to let them play poker anymore, and then stopped it. And if you would do well, you might get a lot of attention again.
Yeah,
It's
Russia is getting pretty big
They get very good
online as
players.
well, and they get a lot of pretty good players. They have a good community.
We've got an all in here, guys.
Whoa, Anderson is all in.
Yeah,
20 bigs.
he called Harold's pre-flop raise from the big blind, and he's now just check raised all in. Harold continued for 85,000. Anderson shove is for around 760k.
All right. So Harold didn't snap call him off, so I guess he doesn't have a good queen or ace. I think ace 10 he even probably has to call with if he has only like 18 big blinds. I'm not really sure how much he has, but
Doesn't look like he's going to call.
no, he's probably thinking if he gets the odds to call, but
Yep.
he just put it in.
And once again, Calvin Anderson at risk.
What does he have? King Jack. King Jack, yeah.
So the straight draw for Harold. 9-10 for Anderson.
Wow.
So he's currently ahead.
That's almost a flip. And this is a pretty good situation for Harold to see the dead hand. I mean,
Yeah, but
every
10-9
jack,
is
every
still
jack, every king, every 9, every ace is good. So
10-9 is still in front.
yeah, 10-9 is still in front, but I mean,
It's marginal, 54-46 as we can see.
Well, that's 8%.
Bigger favourite now. 7-3 favourite to double up. It is his birthday.
Is it? Yes.
Yes, it is. Calvin Anderson has turned 25 today. Looking to celebrate by making the final table of this tournament. Meanwhile, Lasse Christensen winning even more chips.
he doubled again. Wow.
And this time it looks like he doubled up through Lasse Guden, the German player in the one seat. And as you can see, Guden now nursing a reasonably short stack.
It's a nice 10-minute heater for Christiansen. I guess it's good for the action that Calvin Anderson doubled up. I kind of want to see him playing 6 short-handed for a while with a lot of chips. It's fun to watch.
By the way, registration has just opened for today's EPT Live free roll, which starts at 8:15 this evening, Central European time. That's 2:15 Eastern. $1,500 in the prize pool. And of course, we've had surnames of previous EPT Berlin winners as the password. We had Wilanovsky, we had Kitai. So I know what you're thinking. Today's password must be McPhee. No! Today's password is Neil J, because he ruined it for us, because he accidentally revealed the password yesterday, so we've made him the password today. Neil J, all lowercase, N-E-I-L-J. That's the password that will get you into today's EPT Live free roll. That's right. If you ruin things for us, we will name and shame you by turning you into a password.
In your face again.
Marcel, a question for your fans. How did you become known as the Flying Dutchman?
Well, they start to give nicknames to people in the early days. And I even been called the Flying Fox at one stage in a book. And you had the Devilfish and you had all kind of names. And then it was just like, I think it was in France, when I arrived there, then they said, we monsieur the Flying Dutchman or something in English, because the KLM is actually having it on their planes. And I like the Flying Dutchman better as the Flying Fox, because then you give away something, it's like a tell, isn't it? It speaks for himself, why you being called the Flying Fox. So I was not... It was a nice surprise because it doesn't say anything bad. So I stick myself to it and people start to call me like this and I say, okay, let's use the name. But I could not trademark it because we got a lot of Flying Dutchmen and certainly the new generations when they fly into these tournaments.
Well, I remember Keem Win was on our feature table and was a big stack. Things haven't gone so well for him since he got moved to the outer table. He's now among the tournament short stacks.
His body language says it all, I guess.
Omaha Player of the Year on EPT Season 8.
Yeah, I played with him a couple times. He's a pretty good player. I see almost everybody's wearing sunglasses at the table now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was 7 out of 8. The only guy who wasn't wearing sunglasses was the Finn, who actually wore proper glasses. So it's Shades Central.
You think it's because of the feature table they're wearing it, or?
I don't know. I mean, we've got like special lights which shouldn't blind them, but I don't know. I mean, Calvin Anderson's obviously got the whole look thing going on. He's got the sunglasses that with the frames that match the green hoodie.
I think it goes in Wales, where people think on the final table they should prepare better and try to get everything in order more than on the normal tables. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they just want to be really focused, don't give anything away, and yeah. I mean, I've been around for a while already, for a couple of years in the live circuit, and I don't really have the need to wear sunglasses when I'm getting deep in the tournament, because I've been there a couple times already, and I don't feel I'm giving anything away if I don't wear them. So yeah, but I can understand if people are a little bit more nervous of getting deep into a tournament, and yeah, really think they would give something away with their eyes or with their whole body language. They just want to like close themselves off the whole thing and just grind.
But the funny thing is, I can't remember that I wear ever sunglasses because I was nervous. Because of that reason. I wear them because of the light, or just so I can close my eyes and nobody looks at me, because it looks stupid, like you're going to sleep or something. But sometimes I play for 2 or 3 days in a row and backwards and forwards and day and night.
You're so tired you had to put them on upside down.
No, that's what I did in my place where we play private. And then I took them out into the circuit and I did the same thing, because who cares? Nobody knew me. But then they know me because doing that.
But the whole upside down sunglasses thing got pretty famous at some point.
I remember my home game, you know, us pretending we were Marcel Luske and putting our sunglasses on upside down. It was like playing make-believe.
It was funny because a lot of people, when they lost the pot, they told me I'm stupid, I'm wearing my sunglasses upside down, I don't even know, things like this.
We've got word that Keem Win is shoved on the other table. If he gets called, we will switch to that table. There was a caller, so we're going to leave this hand where Anderson is raised. 2 nines versus ace-7. Waiting for confirmation. Looks like Keem's the fellow with ace-7. Nine's holding.
Are they? Yes.
King on the river, so the nines do hold, and it looks like we have lost Keem Win.
And then he
That'll be in
waddled away.
13th place.
Ouch.
And that'll be good for at least 40K. That's right, 40,000 euros. In 13th place. Next player eliminated makes 47,000 euros.
It's a good day at the ovens.
And we are now down to 12. Which means we're 4 eliminations away from the final table. Looks like this raise from Calvin Anderson was called by Roman Harold.
Anderson just doubled up, so I guess he has like a little more space to play back at the chip leader, Harold.
Anderson starts the hand with 1.79 million. Harold starts the hand with just over 4 million. And it looks like Harold's leading this flop.
The board is 9-6-7 with a flush draw. I think it's a pretty good board to lead out with, like Jack 10 kind of hands that you don't really want to check call with, but you continue on a lot of like turns that is pretty tough for Anderson to call, like every heart, every Every 8, of course, every jack, every 10.
Anderson does call. And Harold was defending out of the big blind. 6 on the turn, 2 flush draws now.
Still a good card for somebody who's on the big or the small blind. If you're in a position like this, if the board doesn't show any pictures or aces, then to bet out is like very hard to read the hand then.
I wonder if Anderson is going to call, or if he's going to fold hands on this turn, which he's calling with on the flop. I mean, this is kind of a blank, besides of the second flush draw, but it's not really likely. So I wonder what the action is going to be if Harold's going to lead out again on the turn.
This board hasn't necessarily gotten any worse for him most of the time.
No.
Some players are going to lead with bottom pair. Just kind of throw a little donk bet out. Harold has bet a second time, 155,000.
Anderson doesn't look too happy though, but I mean, if Anderson has something like a pair, like a 7 or a 9, he's definitely not going to fold.
Right.
And yeah, if maybe he just called with like 2 overs on the flop and he's folding now, but I don't see him folding any pair or any flush draw, of course. So
He could have ace 10.
yeah, maybe he has 2 overs that he's going to fold on the turn now and just give Harold respect for a second barrel, but he decides to call.
So we will see a river.
I would be pretty surprised if Anderson has like no pair here and no draw.
Well, no draws came in.
So double paired board now. Every pair lower than a 6 got counterfeited, but I guess Roman Harold almost never has like deuces until 5s anyway.
Might have 5s.
Sorry?
He might have 5s.
He might have 5s, do you think?
That's what you cannot exclude.
Nah, you could
Because then he
never
would play the
exclude
same. He would lean out on the flop. But you feel bad when that happens.
Yeah, and it would be a really bad river bluff as well if we would bet with 5s now, because he can't really think Anderson would fold this river if he has some kind of pair. So, but we'll see what happens.
Even when you have no pair, you can call.
Yeah, even if Anderson has something like ace high, I'm not really sure if he's gonna fold on this board, because he still beats so many beaten flush draws and stuff like that. But
Well, it does look like Harold's going to bet.
pretty big as well.
We have an all-in and a call on the other table. Yasser Gudin, Jack 8 of clubs
Against Queen 9 of clubs.
against Queen 9 of clubs.
No more straight flushes over there.
Queen high good so far.
Not anymore.
Oh,
Pair of 8s now for Gudin.
And a queen.
And Queen on the river. So we lose Yasser Gudin in 12th place. He's going to walk with 47,000 euros.
seems
Robert
like,
Auer who knocked him out.
seems like every time I join the booth, people are busting within 5 minutes.
Yeah, why don't you stick around? Make it an early night. Calvin Anderson still with this decision. The bet ended up being for 465,000 in a pot of 700,000. Now, if this is a bluff, he has made it pretty tough for Anderson to call. I would tend to agree with you guys, though. It's not the greatest spot to bluff, though.
Oh, he put him on the test. It's a decision. He still can call with his ace 10 or ace jack.
I mean, the range of the big blind is either 9x, 6x, or like a bluff. I mean, I don't think he's barreling a 7 3 times for value or either as a bluff, so it's kind of polarized.
That's a raise,
Wow.
and that's pretty much all in.
That's pretty much unexpected.
That's pretty sick.
That rarely used river option.
Yeah, the call, raised in position on the river. I like it.
It's a raise to 1.075 million.
Now he's
If he shows a bluff now, I probably just quit poker. Especially because you either have Harold beat.
That's a call.
9. Does he show a 9 or not?
It's a chop or what?
Anderson shows 9 tray. It is a chop.
Oh my God! Look at this hand.
Wow.
Okay, that makes sense.
9-3. The last 9 in the deck comes. Like.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if Harold was thinking about still shipping the river, or I don't know the reason why he tanked for so long, because he is like almost the nuts.
Do you think that if a card that sort of ensures a chop there doesn't hit the river, that Anderson still calls with a 9?
I'm not sure if the other guy is going to lead out with like 9-8.
With just the 9?
Yeah, so he might just check the river, or I don't think he's going to bet really big with a 9 on the river.
Probably just doesn't go down the same way.
Yeah, so yeah, it's going to be way tougher, of course, for Anderson to continue if you only have the top pair. But I'm not sure if he's folding that. I mean, especially if no draw completes, and yeah.
It's certainly a different play. If you see the hand, you expect him to have like ace-10 range, and then he shows you 9-3, double suited.
I know Anderson pretty good, so I know he can play any 2 cards there. But
yeah, he was the original raiser there, by the way.
The fact that he shows 9-3 off says enough, I guess. So he's like folding no buttons probably.
He is opening up 180 hands, I think.
I
That's
mean,
his range.
he raises with 9 tray, hits top pair, and then just plays it pretty passively.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason for him to raise in any street, I think, until the river, because I mean, you don't really want to get it in on 9-7-6 with a flush draw with top pair, no kicker.
He can only beat a bluff.
Yeah.
Once he starts to, he hopes he's bluffing. So.
But like I said, if he would show a bluff on the river, I would probably just quit poker. But it's so unlikely.
I'm glad that you don't have to quit poker, Paul.
Yeah, me too.
You're all right. He'd have done it too, by the way. He'd have quit. He'd have walked right out of here. Never heard from him again. Henderson raising again.
Yeah. That's why I really liked Anderson doubling up with that 9-10. He just gives so many action for the feature table. It's just fun to watch.
I mean, I already have a hard enough time putting guys on hands and ranges, and then this guy has to come sit down and start raising with the 9 tray.
Yeah.
What shot do I have?
None. None.
In the long run, none. But
None.
None.
Short term, everybody has a chance.
Iliev calls in position, and Padun also defends.
Certainly makes him unpredictable for his opponent. Very aggressive.
Yeah.
It's kind of an understatement. Yeah, even the best players are. It's pretty tough for them to play against Anderson because they know he's capable of having any 2 cards and putting hands into bluffs, and it's just. I mean, in the long run, I mean, I saw him having a really good stack yesterday, I think, already. On like he was up to 3 million or something. And yeah, by the way he plays, it's also like, I mean, yeah, he was up to 3 million and he was still playing 50% of his hands, and he eventually walked into a couple big hands and yeah, was down to 500k, I think, at the start of this day. So I mean, the way he plays, it's a a lot more variance than normal MTT players, but yeah, he's the guy who can get like an insane stack if he gets on the run and he gets on the heater and everything works out. So he's the type of guy who's probably going to win it, or are they going to end up ninth somewhere?
Anderson continues his flop. Gets called in 2 spots.
Anderson was the initial race and got called by Aliyev and Pidun. And then they both check called the flop. Or, yeah.
Yep. Now it's check to him again.
I guess Anderson can only really continue with a really good ace in this spot.
Anderson does check us this time. Action on Aliyev.
I think the only one with a really good ace is the Russian guy.
Yeah, it makes most sense that the Russian guy has probably the best hand here, and the other guy might have like something like a flush draw or straight draw or maybe one pair hand.
Aliyev picks up the betting lead now.
The biggest danger is going from small blind, is it?
He's in the big blind, the other guy.
Blind. He is more likely to have a 4 in his hand.
Yeah, but I mean, what kind of force would he defend of the big blind? I mean,
no, it's like if you find anything in that range, if he's playing it, once he's playing it.
And Aliyev shows 6-8 for a stone bluff.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
he still got gut shot.
I got that one wrong though, but I mean, it was kind of unlikely for him to have total airball with 2 players left. But
Very, very nice.
I like the bluff because his range looks so strong with
Really
him,
does, yeah.
him flatting Anderson and the other guy not having a monster most of the time. So
You expect he's going to have an ace there a lot.
Yes.
yeah, and
You have to give him benefit for it.
I didn't know he was capable of doing this kinds of bluff, but I didn't really
Did
see
you
him
ever
playing
play
that.
with the Russians?
But yeah, I know I played with the Russians.
The
but
question is he capable of doing that kind of a bluff and not showing it? And I'm not so sure that he is.
Nah, this is probably the. I shouldn't say it, but I don't think he's doing this very often.
No.
I think he's just really proud of the bluff now and
Yes.
just shows it, and he hopes he's going to get paid off in the next 2 hours, and he just has it.
When you do that once a day, you show it.
Once a day, then you're already a hero. I find out there's not many people bluffing actually in poker.
But I really like the bluff because I mean, when Anderson checked the turn, he was almost likely that he's going to give up like 80% of the times, and the other guy, yeah, it's pretty tough for the other guy to continue on like pretty much a blank 4 on the turn. So yeah, it's good. Anderson is folded to Anderson again. I guess Andy too here.
So raised 80,000.
This is so fun to watch. This guy's just opening every hand. The Dutch guy's thinking about his options. No. Russia feeling confident now?
Yep.
Well, the moment somebody calls Anderson, then you're gonna think it's most likely they have the better hand already.
Yeah, I guess that's easy to say. Yeah, you're ahead of Anderson's range most of the time.
Definitely.
If you sit with a player like that, then it's like.
But still, he's not the type of guy who's c-betting once and then gonna check fold a lot of turns. I mean,
We might be going 4 ways to this flop. Yes, we are. So both blinds defend. Calvin Anderson's reputation may be caught up to him. No respect for this raise.
Oh, but he had a great flop.
For 9 tray, that's huge for 9 tray.
This is like.
I mean, I guess we have to say this hits Anderson's range most of the times, but
Still got those blinds to worry about too. Check to Anderson.
But the blinds were not likely to call with these kind of cards.
I mean, the big blind is going to be pretty wide here, I think, with the odds he's getting.
Yes.
yeah, the big blind is gonna complete a lot of the times. If you have something which is not more than a suited 5 gap or anything, then he's probably gonna be getting along. Anderson continuing
He don't
against
care.
2 people. Nah, I mean, it's pretty unlikely for him to have a total airball here against 3 players. That's just burning money, I think. But
No, he's calculating that what can they have.
yeah.
The only one who's dangerous is the one on the big blind, probably.
And it folds around the Thomas, who's going to let this
There
go.
you go. There you go.
A little.
Anderson's going to win a huge pot here.
Yep.
I never seen somebody doing this and then still call.
Yeah.
It's a break, or?
That's it. We are on a break. When we return, blinds will be 25 and 50,000 with a 5K inning. I want to thank both Marcel Luske and Paul Berende. Thank you guys for being with us.
Thank you.
No problem.
EPT Live from Berlin. We'll be back right after this.